This week I'm in Bangkok, the capital of Thailand. Now I've got to keep my voice down because we are in the middle of a service. This is the world's largest Buddhist temple complex, and I hope you're going to be able to pick up. There are literally tens of thousands of people here who've gathered for this service. Now, I've come to meet a man who's played an important part in building up this temple complex and spreading the message of a movement which is hoping to change the world. Everything you are about to see is on a grand, almost incredible scale. We were the first foreign camera crew allowed inside, even becoming part of the service. On this 1,000-acre site, they're building a new place of pilgrimage for Buddhists from around the world. They've even begun building a structure that will house 1 million pilgrims.
It's an immense structure because it's about 3.2 kilometers in circumference. So you can imagine the sort of size of roof it's going to take to cover the whole of this.
So you're going to have a temple that's going to be 3.2 kilometers around?
Yes, that's right. And in the center here is a pagoda.
Pra Nicholas is one of the Dhammakaya Temple's original group of monks. He was educated in the UK, but Thailand has been his home for more than 20 years. The temple is his life's work. The day we met, as on every other, Pra Nicholas had been up since before dawn. One thing you probably don't know is that we had a huge sort of controversy in the car on the way here about what I was going to wear. Okay. Because I didn't have the right clothes. I had a blue shirt, and I've managed to borrow, thank you very much, from the cameraman Dave, this shirt, which is sort of more white, because everybody here is in white.
Yes.
Why is that?
It's basically a Buddhist tradition. If you go anywhere in Asia, South Asia, and you see people going to Buddhist temples, they tend to wear white.
But why?
It sort of puts people in a frame of mind, even from the time they get up in the morning, that today they're going to do something special, they're going to be going to the temple, and wearing white is not a convenient color to wear because you do have to be especially careful about where you sit down, even the sort of things you pick up, brush against. Mostly in Buddhism we deal with states of mind.
Right.
And being detailed, being careful about the things we're doing. Mindful is a word we often use. And wearing white does tend to put you in that frame of mind, even from the time you get dressed in the morning.
But you're in orange.
By the time monks generally wear orange, it sets our community slightly apart because there are special ways the monks are treated. Like, for example, we don't come into too close contact with ladies, for example.
Right.
As a result of our celibate lifestyle. So we are set apart slightly. We don't wear white.
I understood that you sort of don't brush up to touch
we don't even come in physical contact with women.
Right.
And that's one part of our celibate practice, that we're not even allowed to come in physical contact to sort of...
So no shaking hands, no...
No. And that's, I don't know, I guess it's very thorough, rules that we follow.
Complete celibacy is just one of the many rules or precepts a monk must follow. For all their food and material needs, they rely on public kindness.
The idea of generosity in Buddhism is that we believe that what you give will be what will return to you by the law of karma. What you give will come back to you in kind. Or you set up some conditions in yourself whereby in the future you must receive. So by practicing generosity, it's like you're providing for your own future.
To help me understand, Pra Nicholas was anxious that I should make my own offering. Tell me what I'm doing so I just go, just so I know what I just want to do the right thing.
So maybe if you go behind that lady there,
right,
you can make a wish for any way in which you hope that good things will come into your life in the future. And when you see the queue going up, then you can offer that to the monk in front of you.
Right. And do I say anything to the monk, or?
No, I don't think so. But he may say something to you. He may give you a blessing, maybe in Thai.
There are more than 1,000 monks based in this one temple. They've had congregations reaching close to 300,000 people already. I wanted to know more about what exactly it is that attracts them.
The unique thing about Buddhism, if you compare it to other religions or philosophies, is that your path to salvation depends entirely on you.
Right.
So it's up to you to work on yourself in order to purify yourself, improve yourself, perfect yourself to the point that you can achieve salvation for yourself. It's not, the onus is not on some external god or mysterious supernatural figure who is going to bring you salvation.
So there is no God as such?
We don't say there's no God, but we say that the onus is on us rather than on a god to do the work of improving on ourselves.
Right.
Therefore, people have to practice, whether it's generosity, being self-disciplined, or meditating, in order to secure their own improvement, personal improvement, overcome their bad habits, improve their good habits, and eventually become a person who is enlightened.
All of which is good. Living well can only be a good thing.
Exactly.
Being generous, that can only be a good thing. What though, as it were, what's the benefit of that? When you say salvation, I mean, if, say you live a very virtuous life, I mean, say for you, what are you hoping will be the outcome of your life? You're making a great many sacrifices.
In Buddhism, we do believe in rebirth.
Right.
So we believe that what you do has effects on lifetimes to come. And as we come across a lot of suffering as a part of our life, the only way to deal with suffering in a definitive way is to make sure that we're not going to be reborn anymore.
So you don't want to be reborn?
Exactly. That's what we are practicing for, so that we don't have to come back anymore.
So where would you go?
Well, there's a place which is outside the system, which is known as nirvana.
Right, oh I see. So when you reach the highest level...
Then you don't have to come back anymore.
Right. But in a way, I mean, that how long does it take? I suppose nobody knows. I mean, this is a stupid question, but how long does that whole process take?
It depends on you. If
Right.
you make more effort, then it takes shorter time.
Right.
So the idea of being a monk is that you're on the sort of, you're in the fast lane.
Right.
If you're a lay person, you may practice now and then.
Right.
The weekends, perhaps.
Right.
Maybe you're in the slow lane, but
Right.
you get there too eventually.
Right.
Maybe it'd be a few more lifetimes than for the monks.
One thing that, I don't know, interests me, bothers me, worries me, I suppose, is that there's an assumption that being a human being and life is about suffering. Whereas I sort of think of it as a joyful thing.
This is a common misunderstanding about Buddhism, because Buddhists say that suffering is the reason why we do everything. But on the other hand, there is happiness. And the suffering which is unavoidable in life, things which, you know, we can kid ourselves that we're not going to meet up with immediately, things like dying or being terminally ill or even, you know, being born and so on. These are all forms of suffering which we come across. Even if we cut our fingernail and cut our cuticle by mistake, it's a form of suffering. But what we're trying to do is to overcome that.
So somebody like me, you know, I'm going along thinking I'm happy. Am I living in
Yes, but there's, okay, apart from the sort of obvious things like dying and death and so on, there are also things which we tend to heap on ourselves in terms of suffering. For example, our attachments. If we think that our whole happiness in life depends on having a second holiday home, and then suddenly it gets washed away by a flood and we feel devastated by that, it's because of our attachment in the first place that we feel so devastated.
I totally take what you're saying, but it's sort of negative, always sort of seeing the dark side.
downside.
Yeah, you know, the flip side of everything.
The other side, the happy side of it is, if you do meditate, you can find sources of happiness in your life which do go a lot deeper than external sources of happiness. If your mind becomes calm enough to the point where you go beyond superficial thinking, then you touch upon states of mind which are in themselves happy, where you can be anywhere in the world, even in positions which may be quite disturbing, but on the inside you have a refuge of calm within yourself which would bring you happiness wherever you are and irrespective of the conditions you find yourself in. And I think that's why people are keen on to meditate, and they're keen to spend time at the temple working on themselves in order to touch upon those states of